Well, we went through a lot of different designs, and we tried to find a bear that you're looking for two things. You're finding a bear that's unique but familiar. You know, that's what and I think Jeff and the creative team found a great combination of those two things. That is Chauncey. It feels like everyone had Chauncey, but also he's a little bit different. And so that's what we were looking for, and I think that's what we found. Japan I was just in Japan promoting Five Nights at Freddy's. I was just there, and it's a hard market for our movies, mostly because there's so many spectacular Japanese horror movies, right? So we have great competition, which makes for better movies. So I think that's a good thing. And Japan has such an incredibly unique culture. Which also is a rich way to develop horror movies. And I think to answer your question, I think if you set out to look for something that's iconic, you can't succeed. I think you have to look for something that touches you in a certain way. I think Megan, James Wan and Gerard, who directed Megan, were really the authors or the creators of how she would move and how she would talk and how she would look. And I think they wanted to find something that personally moved them. And then you have to hope for the best. I think if you're trying to please everybody, you please no one. I think it feels like a Blumhouse movie because at their core, most of our movies, not all of them, but most of our movies are really family dramas. I always say they're independent family dramatic movies, but they're tucked into the shell of a genre movie of scary things happen, and there's usually a core family unit that's sort of threatened by some outside force. In this case, by a bear. But in that way, this movie feels like lots of the other Blumhouse movies that we've done. But I also feel like it's very different, and we do a lot of new things in this movie we've never seen before. Well, I most recently saw, it's not exactly a horror movie, but I've talked a lot about the latest Godzilla, which I thought was a terrific movie. And what the reason that, to me, one of the reasons that movie works so well is the unusual family that's been created and the dynamic with that family. And I think that's very compelling. And sure, we borrowed from that in this movie, in that there's unusual family relationships and family dynamics that are threatened by an outside force. Godzilla is a little scarier than Chauncey, although not necessarily. このクマちゃん、怖いよ。
引っ越し先の地下室で見つけた古びたテディベア。
Who left you all alone down here?
It was just my
Playing a new game with
imagination.
Chauncey. I need something happy.
Something happy.
かけがえのない友達になるはずだった。
Does that seem like a game a good friend would want to play?
Maybe we shouldn't be friends!
Just because you stop believing in them doesn't mean they're gone. Every culture has a name for it. We call them
イマジナリー。死ぬまで一緒って言ったよね。